flattered to be included with all the outstanding inductees today. I appreciate the recognition for a minor sport of tennis. If it looks like I'm reading my notes, it's because I am. I'd like to thank Greg Hansen for putting my name up and the Hall of Fame committee for accepting me. Began playing junior tennis in the late 50s in the Southwest and in Tucson. I had some success, as back then there were only a handful of tennis players in the Southwest, and I was the only one that knew how to keep score. That helped. I played 3 years at Catalina High School and had some success. Next, I was on the U of A tennis team for 4 years. I had a speed bump in college for one clear reason. I hated the practice. No coach likes to hear that. So I never improved. Well, I went on in college to my junior and senior year. I was at a standstill and got passed by the younger guys. So be it. I'm no better now than I was then. Uncle Sam got me for 2 years after I graduated from college, and tennis was booming in the early 70s. I was lucky enough to become part owner, manager, and instructor at a tennis club called River Racket Club, located at Swan and River Road. Those were the fun years. I spent 13 years at that club and ended up selling it. I said to myself, now what? A good friend of mine, Roland Kotwicka, was a coach at Rincon High School at the time, and I think he had about had it with coaching at that point. So he asked me to apply. I did. And at that time, my first year there, University High, or UHS, moved in with Rincon. And those kids were good. I'd like to say I taught them, but I didn't. They were good. And we had some success there. In 1992, Catalina Foothills opened. I applied for that job and got it. It was closer to my home, and I was hired. Our first year, we played a varsity schedule with all freshmen, and we had a winning season. I like to think it was because of me, but it wasn't. Well, at Foothills, we had quite a bit of success, and I had, through those 20 years at Foothills that I was there, we had 6 or 7 athletic directors. Best one I ever had, while I was there, was Jody Brasi. She kept out of my hair. I didn't bother her. She let me do my thing. Turned out it was fairly successful. During our championship runs, my good friend, Mel Carley, said his wife could coach Foothills. I retorted, you had Sean Elliott, you couldn't win a state championship. He's a good friend, and I'm sure he took that well. Just before retiring, my #1 player, who was going to be #1 that year, had a terrible accident. He fell in a ropes and ladders class and was paralyzed from the waist down. Oh. After many surgeries and rehab, he took up wheelchair tennis. He just recently got a wild card entry into the U.S. Open wheelchair tennis tournament. He did. He was a wonderful kid. Well, he still is a wonderful kid. Cheerful, fought through a lot of hardships. I'm so proud of him. I had nothing to do with his success in wheelchair tennis. Let's be clear about that. Somebody else in town helped teach him. After, let's see. It just shows you that even though us tennis players are scrawny, we got big hearts. Not as scrawny as golfers. closing, I'd like to say I haven't quite retired completely. When I get to see my soon-to-be 4-year-old grandson, I have introduced him to tennis. He runs around like crazy and has no idea where he's going. Plus, he doesn't know how to keep score. So I think I can handle him for another 4 years. In closing, they were told me to keep it brief. In closing, since I left Catalina Foothills, they've won 6 or 7 state championships. So maybe my friend Mel Carley was right. Anyone could have coached them. Thank you.